So hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me out by the side of the river and we're in search of chub on the float. So you do join me on a bank holiday Monday. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Behind me you can hear the river just pushing through over some gravels. And this is a session I've been super excited to get out on for about a week. So a far cry from the banks that we're on in the week. I was sat by my desk at home working away. The door went and Mr. Postman passed me a parcel. In that parcel was the new AQUARIUM glide centre pin. So as you can see on screen now, the river is super low and clear, and these Polaroids probably won't be needed today to spot any fish. The good part about that is you can quite easily spot the areas where the fish are going to be. You can see the bottom and you can see it just goes into that dark water. So although the river is low and clear now, in winter we have the floods, and it really does shape and form this river being a sand bottom. The swim that you can see now on screen didn't exist last year, but the river's come through, dug out a deep hole, and you can just see that dark water. You can see where we've set up. We haven't got a long run, but we are going down to cover. So I'm super excited to see what lives in that dark water. So before we do get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. Leave the comments down below and leave a like on the video. It really does help the channel out, and thank you very much. If you are new around here, my name's Danny, and most weekends you'll find me beside a river or water fishing, and there'll be a video on the channel at 6 PM every Friday. So panning the camera around, last year this was just really fast water coming through here. It wasn't really fishy looking. I used to walk past it all the time. You've got the ball that seems to be in every river swim, and you've got plenty of cover here, but I just think this area could hold a fish, but it's very fast and you're going to be through it in no time. I'm expecting that's probably where Mr. Trout might live. Mr. Chub likes to take things a little bit easier. You can see there we've got the side tray set up. Got some red and white maggot, and we've got some Hinders hemp. While I've just been setting up, I've been throwing some maggots into the swim here. Always go easy, and we'll only go over there and hard if we have to. See, there's a couple of snags, but you can just see how dark the water is. And swims like this, when it's really low, can hold a couple of fish and maybe a couple of beavers, but it is quite clear here. But it's this dark water here that's got me interested. I'm just going to keep on just throwing maggots just into that water there. I want them to fall and just go down these bubbles. We've got a shopping trolley on our inside, and it is going to be a battle if we get a chub. We're going to have to really bully it, but for fishing a centre pin, it is right off the rod tip. There is a bit of a break in the river there, which is worrying me a little bit. Could mean there's a snag, but if there isn't, could be a very good swim. So I've been feeding maggots into the swim for a bit while I've been setting up. I'm just going to start off with a double maggot. Shows me 12-foot rod today, just because some of the swims that we might have fished are a bit snaggy. Just going to flick in off the rod tip. Feeding is obviously going to be key. We'll just run that float down at the pace of the river. Does drop off into a nice depth of water. There we go, it's a fish straight away. Only a small one, but great little start in the first cast. And it's a chublet. You can see there we've got a decent depth of water, and it is deeper as you go towards the snag. So you can see it's quite shallow here, but it does drop off into a good depth. So you can never be unhappy at a fish on the first cast. And again, like I always say, it shows a healthy river. These fish of all sizes. Hopefully down there in the dark is mum or dad. Flicking that float off the rod tip, pinch of maggots, holding back till we get out of this shallow water. Has got a tendency this swim to come in, which isn't great. There's another fish straight away. Again doing the same thing, going over to the far side. And again another small chublet. And minnows can be a real pain in this river, so it's great to be getting chublets instead of them. And look at that for a fin perfect little chublet. 2 fish in 2 casts. The sound of water behind me, and a happy Danny. I'm getting all the bites just about here. There we go. When it's sunk then, I thought if it was a bit bigger we're going to be in trouble. They've all gone over this far side, which says to me there could be some covered over there. That's another chublet, which is great to see. And they are like brand new fish. There's not a fin out of place. A beautiful, perfect little chublet. Yeah, it screams mum and dad. Got to say. But yeah, keep on drip feeding that bait into the swim and that float over the top, holding it back into the line. So I do want it to stay out a little bit. I don't want it to be too close to this inside cover. Just going for you beautifully. There we go. Definitely a few fish in the swim. Most definitely, you can just see just how many fish a swim like this can hold. You know, plenty of life in the river. Looking in his mouth, he's got quite a few down there, which is a bit worrying. Says to me that mum and dad aren't in the swim. If they're getting all the bait for what we've put in, mum or dad would have cleared all that up. And the float's buried again, right down on the snag. Another chublet. It's probably the best one, but they're all the same type of year class. He hasn't got any maggots in his mouth, so maybe he's the last one out the snag. There we go. Buried on the outside, and when it buries down there, just give it some teddy just to get it upstream. Again, definitely found the nursery swim. There's plenty of life in the river, most definitely. We'll quickly go over the setup before we move swims. It's my 12 to 14 foot AQUARIUM glide. I've got it set at 12 foot today. I've got the new centre pin from AQUARIUM, as you've seen. That's down to a 0.8 gram fine liner float, and I've got evenly strung out shotting pattern all the way down to a 4 pound 4 ounce hook link and a size 16 hook. As you can see there, plenty of bites. Great to see a bit of variety with Mr. Perch, and good for the future of the river. Let's go and try another swim and try and catch mum and dad. But yeah, that net makes me really happy, because like I've always said on the channel, that is a river that's got a future. They are your proper chub in years to come. Let's get them straight back. Back they all go. All of the same year class. Straight back under the tree. Well, pop in the comments below. Can you believe we've not had a chub? I can't. I've been angling over the years. I've been on the bank and seen many amazing things that the British countryside has to offer. Most of them I've shared on the channel over the years, but one of the most beautiful is right in front of me. Got a bit of trouble with that ivy, but if you just look at that for the tree, it just keeps on going and going and going. And you imagine the wonderful things that tree's seen. It must have seen this river change so much over the years, and right now it's shadowing the next generation. So mooching down the river, you can see it's gin clear. I'm just using them Polaroids. I've just been feeding some maggot, and there's one or two chub just come onto this clear patch here. You can see them there just moving over the shallows. It's definitely a one bite swim. I've seen one or two moving right at the back down there. So there's a few decisions to be made, because there is a few chub now moving on this line. I think if you catch one, it's going to be game over because it's that clear. But enough talking. Let's get down there and give it a go. It has taken an absolute age to get a bite. I've been watching these chub. I've tried free lining, I've tried everything, and I've learned so much. I've had times when I've had 20 chub in the swim, and I've been going through and I couldn't get a bite. And changed hook links, changed hooks down to a size 18 hook, no difference. £2 line. You can see the water is gin clear. I've just gone down to the smallest float I've got, the lightest float, which is, I think it's 3 number 4 at John Allerton. And eventually we filled one, and boy has it been hard work, but at the same time learn absolute loads. And one of the lessons I'm learning right now is, how do you catch chub after chub after chub? Well, the answer is, while there's one in the net, there's fish in the swim still down there. And there we go, finally one of the proper chub. And yeah, it's been great watching them on them gravels today, trying to work out how to catch them. I've tried free lining, all manner of tactics, going down to that really light float. I think it's 3 or 4 number 4. Certainly has paid off, and I guess just shows how light of a float you can use on that centre pin. But yeah, part of me just enjoys watching them in the water. You learn so much for how they feed, how they come into the swim and then drop back out as a group and come back in. But proper made up with that. There's fish in the swim behind me, you can see them behind the camera, so I'm going to have another go. Let's get this beautiful chub straight back. And when you suss the method, it all becomes a little bit simpler. Far from easy, but that little change definitely paying off. And you see there another chub just turning in the flow, and you see how clear the water is. And from watching them to catching them, like them ones before, absolutely fin perfect. Time is running out though. We spent too long watching them and not long enough catching them. It's always the way in it, but lessons learnt today will help us in the future. Let's get it straight back. Coming towards the end of the session now, and the float is just buried again. So when you get it right, it's so easy, but when you're getting it wrong and you can see you're getting it wrong, it's painful. It's been really interesting today just to see how these fish react to getting caught, and how they behave in the water, and how they react to different baits, because they definitely react differently to corn than they do maggot. You see, you've got a lovely bend in the rod. They definitely pick it up differently, and they definitely spook off it if it doesn't look right. And what a lovely chub that is to finish on. You've heard me say it on the blog before, the days where it's hard are the days where you learn the most. And today, watching them chub, definitely learned a few lessons. And yeah, next time we come and we're going through, not getting a bite, maybe they are down there and we're just doing something a bit wrong. Third chub of the session. We had all them chublets earlier on, and all that remains for me to say now is to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and we'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.